The galaxy was silent. No gunfire, no alarms, no ships flying across the stars, just cold, deep silence. It wasn't always like this. Once, the galaxy was full of noise, wars, trade, diplomacy, and arguments between species. There were proud empires, powerful warlords, and endless fighting over territory. But now, everything was still. Planets that once glowed with lights were now dark. Battle stations were empty. Fleets were gone. No signals, no messages, nothing. Something had happened. No one knew exactly when the silence began. Some said it started after the fall of the Kryak Empire. Others believed it began when the proud Cerex fleet vanished in Sector 9. But everyone agreed on one thing. It started after humanity arrived. Aliens used to laugh when they talked about Earth. They called humans a primitive race from the edge of the galaxy. Earth had only one star, one moon, and no interstellar power. When humans first sent a request to join the Galactic Union, the message was ignored. When they sent it again, it was mocked. They still burn fuel to fly. One Varnax general had said, laughing. They use metal bullets. Their ships are ugly. What can such a weak species offer us? The answer came too late. Now that general is gone. His fleet destroyed. His planet missing. At first, the galaxy thought it was just bad luck. A few battles lost, a few ships missing. But then more reports came in. Entire colonies wiped out in seconds, with no warning. Defense systems didn't activate. Communications died. Survivors, if any, spoke of strange sounds in the sky and thunder that rolled across the stars. Thunder in space? That made no sense. But it was real. Admiral Texor of the Draxian Navy was one of the few who escaped an attack. His ship, once part of a 200-ship armada, was the only one left. He floated alone in the dark, eyes wide, hands shaking. They didn't use lasers, he said in a broken voice. No missiles, no visible weapons, just light and sound. A great booming sound, like the universe itself was angry. And then they vanished. Who vanished? The council had asked him. He looked at them with hollow eyes. The humans. After that, fear spread faster than light. Planets started locking their skies. Empires formed secret councils. Weapons were upgraded. But it was no use. Nothing worked. No one could stop what was coming. Some called it revenge. Others called it justice. But most simply called it the thunder. Whispers moved through the void like ghosts. They're not using ships, one message said. They're inside our systems, said another. They don't want control. They want silence. The most advanced species in the galaxy now feared the one race they had mocked. No one had ever seen a human ship arrive. They never showed up on scans. And yet, when they left, entire civilizations were gone. The supreme ruler of the Sarnax Empire tried to send a peace message. He offered gold, weapons, even his own daughter as a gift to Earth. The message was sent, but the reply never came. Instead, the sky above his throne cracked with thunder. His palace was the last thing anyone on his planet saw. Now when someone speaks the word human, people grow quiet. Children are told stories to behave. Be good or the humans will come. Traders no longer travel near Sector 9. Even the pirates of the dark stars have vanished. The galaxy had once been full of pride. Each empire believed it was the strongest, the smartest, the best. But now they all bowed to one silent truth. They had awakened something they did not understand. And whatever humanity had become, it was no longer the weak species from Earth. It was something more. Something hidden. Something watching. The last message ever heard on the galactic broadcast was short. Just 4 words. A whisper in 1,000 languages. We warned you twice. Then nothing. Now the stars blink quietly. Planets spin in fear. And somewhere deep in the dark, a human warship watches. Silent. Patient. Waiting. Because the galaxy forgot one simple rule. Never push a kind species too far. 10 years before the galaxy went silent, Earth was still learning to travel between the stars. Their ships were slower, their weapons basic, and their technology old compared to the great empires of the galaxy. But the humans had something different. Hope. They looked at the stars not with greed, but with wonder. The leaders of Earth worked hard to build their first interstellar communication system. They sent a message to the Galactic Union, hoping for peace, friendship, and learning. It was a simple message in thousands of languages. We are from Earth. We come in peace. We wish to be your friends. The message traveled far. It passed through trading hubs, military zones, and even secret war stations. But when it finally reached the Council of the Galactic Union, they laughed. "This is a joke," said Councillor Vurex of the Kelmer Dominion. "They still use chemical rockets. Let them play with their little toys." "Send them a reply," another councillor joked. "Tell them to evolve a few more centuries first." And so, no reply was sent. Earth waited. Months passed, then years. No answer came. But humans don't give up easily. They improved their tech. They studied signals from alien worlds. They built faster ships. And 5 years later, they sent another message, stronger, clearer, and this time with images, science data, and even music. Once again, it was a peaceful message. We come in peace. We wish to learn. We offer knowledge in return. This time, the galaxy responded, but not with friendship. A popular alien news channel played the message as a joke. "Look at the humans." The anchor laughed. "They think they matter." The video went viral across star networks. Memes were made. Songs mocked Earth's music. One video even showed humans dancing. Aliens thought it was war training and laughed even harder. The worst came when a group of humans traveled on a peaceful ship to the nearest Union border station. The ship carried gifts, books, art, and food. But they were stopped by a Xarn battle cruiser. The captain of the cruiser, Lord Garrel, didn't want peace. He believed in strength. To him, peace was weakness. He destroyed the human ship. Then he broadcasted one sentence. "This is your answer, Earth." Only one human escaped in an escape pod. Her name was Captain Elara Voss. Injured and bleeding, she floated for days before a passing cargo ship picked her up. When she returned to Earth, she didn't scream. She didn't cry. She walked into the Global Assembly, stood before the leaders, and said just one thing. "They laughed at us. They killed our people. Now, we prepare." That day, Earth went quiet. There were no protests, no shouting, just silence and work. Secret bunkers were opened. Old technologies were reactivated. Hidden labs beneath oceans and ice caps began to hum. The humans who were once laughed at began building something the galaxy had never seen. A project called Thunder. No one outside Earth knew what it was, not even most humans. Only a few top scientists and military minds were allowed inside. At the same time, Earth stopped sending messages. No signals, no contact. Traders who came near Earth were turned away politely or vanished. Aliens noticed the silence, but they didn't worry. "They're probably broken," said Councillor Vurex. "Let them play with rocks." But one species knew better. The Arzaki, an ancient race of watchers, had always observed in silence. They had seen powerful empires rise and fall. They warned the council many times. You should not mock a quiet people. Quiet people remember. Quiet people prepare. But the council didn't listen. In the shadows, Earth built its future. In silence, it remembered every insult, every laugh, every death. Captain Elara Voss disappeared from public life. Some said she was dead. Others believed she was training soldiers in secret. But one message was found in her abandoned base, carved into metal. When thunder speaks, they will listen. It happened in the Ellerin sector, a quiet region mostly used for storage and trade. The Kryak Empire controlled it, a proud race with warships, stations, and nearly 50,000 soldiers spread across 7 moons and 3 planets. One day, Everything just stopped. No warning, no alarms, no messages. A Kryak scout ship arrived to deliver supplies. They sent a message to the main base. No reply. They'd scanned the surface of Moon 3. No heat signatures, no movement. So they landed. What they found was not war, not blood, not bodies. They found silence. Thousands of soldiers, gone. Ships, untouched. Guns still in hands. It looked like they had all vanished in a single breath. On the walls of the main command center, one word was burned into steel, not written: Khunder. Panic spread through the Kryak Empire. They thought it was a weapon, maybe a virus, maybe stealth soldiers. They sent 10 more ships to investigate. None came back. Finally, the Kryak High Council sent their most powerful warship, the Bloodfang. It had shields stronger than any other. Weapons that could tear moons apart. A crew trained for deep space war. The Bloodfang never fired a single shot. All that was heard was a strange sound recorded by a passing merchant ship before communication died. It wasn't a laser or missile. It was thunder. Deep, rolling, endless. Thunder in space. And then silence. The entire Ellerin sector went dark. Across the galaxy, every major government called emergency meetings. The Kryak Empire tried to stay calm, but their leaders were afraid. For the first time in 100 years, they closed their borders and shut off their trade lines. The Galactic Union sent an investigation team, a group of 10 elite ships from different species, trained in combat and science. They entered Ellerin space. They didn't return. Only one message was sent before their systems shut down. A short scrambled video. In the background, stars blinked. And then from the darkness, a shape appeared. Blacker than space. Silent, smooth, no engines, no lights. And then, boom. The thunder rolled through the ship's audio. Lights flickered. The crew screamed. Then the screen went dark. In every corner of the galaxy, leaders watched that footage. They rewound it, zoomed in, slowed it down. Still, no one could identify the ship. No engines. No thrusters. It didn't even follow physics. But the message was clear. This was not an accident. This was a message. Earth had spoken, not in words, but in thunder. In a secret meeting on GalacticPrime, leaders of 8 powerful empires sat around a long crystal table. Fear filled the room. What did they want? Asked the Kelmer Queen. Maybe revenge, replied the Sarnax's warlord. Maybe justice. They are just one planet, said a voice at the end of the table. We are thousands. But no one replied. Because deep inside they all knew Earth was no longer just one planet. Somewhere along the way, while they laughed and mocked, Earth had changed. It had become something else, something no one understood. They had sent peace. It was ignored. They had sent gifts. They were destroyed. Now they sent thunder. And the galaxy finally listened. Across planets, people whispered. Merchants avoided certain stars. Pirates disappeared. Colonies far from Earth began digging bunkers. Governments hired translators just to study old Earth languages, looking for clues. On a desert moon near the edge of known space, an old alien historian named Jalker sat watching the stars. He had studied every species, every war, every rise and fall. But he had never seen fear like this. He whispered to his students, "You cannot silence a storm by ignoring it. You cannot laugh at thunder and expect to stay dry. The humans gave us 2 chances. We threw them away. Now, they are writing their answer across the stars." Panic had started to grow in every corner of the galaxy. Governments tried to hide it. News channels showed fake victories. Military leaders said they had control. But traders, scouts, and travelers knew the truth. Thunder had returned. In 3 weeks, 5 more outposts went silent. No explosions. No signs of attack. Just Empty buildings, ships still powered on, and walls marked with the same word. Thunder. Then came the message. It was short, cold, sent across open space to every channel in the galaxy. You ignored our peace. You destroyed our kindness. You silenced our people. Now you will hear the whisper. Most thought it was strange. Whisper. What did that mean? Was it another warning? But one thing was clear. It was from Earth. The Galactic Union met again. Fear now sat at every table. Soldiers didn't smile. Spies had nothing to report. No one knew where thunder came from. No one had even seen a human ship. So they decided to strike back. The plan was simple. Send one fleet to Earth. A warning strike, loud and fast. Show the humans that the galaxy would not bow. A combined force of 6 empires gathered. 30 ships. Over 2,000 soldiers. New weapons, new shields, new command orders. They called the mission Operation Silence. They were confident. But they didn't know. Whisper was waiting. The fleet reached the edge of Earth's solar system. It was quiet. Too quiet. Saturn's rings turned slowly. Jupiter's storms spun in silence. No Earth ships in sight. We begin now, said Admiral Kryn of the Velari. They will hear us. The fleet moved forward, systems active, shields up. Then the lights flickered. Inside every ship, alarms started to scream. Not from damage, from fear. AI systems reported something impossible. Space itself was bending. And then, it appeared. At first, it looked like a shadow. Long, thin, silent. No engine flames, no signal, no heat. Just presence. It floated just beyond Pluto. One long, dark shape with no windows, no weapons showing, no lights. The humans called it the Whisper. It didn't fire. It didn't speak. It just moved. One by one, the fleet systems failed. Engines shut down, shields dropped, guns powered off. Pilots screamed as their controls locked. No shots were fired, but one by one, the 30 ships began to drift, completely powerless. From deep inside the Whisper, a message was sent. We gave you peace. You gave us silence, so now silence is what you get. Then all 30 ships disappeared. Not exploded, not destroyed. Just vanished. Across the galaxy, the message repeated. Broadcast in every language, every screen, every device. The galaxy had no choice but to hear. And suddenly, every star felt colder. The Kryak Empire shut its borders. The Velari changed leaders overnight. Even the most violent races paused. Because now they knew. Thunder was destruction. Whisper was warning. On Earth, people didn't cheer. They didn't celebrate. They simply continued. Quiet factories deep underground kept working. Engineers checked systems. Soldiers trained in silence. Captain Ilara Voss, now known only by a symbol DV, watched the galaxy from a dark command room under Antarctica. She saw the Whisper return, hidden again behind Saturn's rings. She watched the fleet vanish. But she didn't smile. We sent one Whisper, she said to her officers. If they don't listen now, next time, they will hear the storm. The galaxy had been quiet for too long. Too many outposts gone. Too many ships missing. No answers. Only fear. And now, the Whisper had returned. The fleet of 30 powerful ships had vanished without a single explosion. No survivors. No wreckage. Just one message burned across every screen. Silence is what you get. The leaders of the Galactic Union finally accepted the truth. Earth was no longer weak. They were not slow or foolish. They were not peaceful anymore. They were preparing for war. And so the galaxy did what it had not done in 1,000 years. It united. 12 empires joined hands. Their flags flew side by side. Ships were upgraded. Planets turned into weapon factories. Billions of credits were spent every hour. The galaxy built a force larger than any seen before. They called it the Grand Flame. 100 warships, dozens of carriers, battle stations, drones, bombers, elite squads, weapons designed to burn through planets. They were going to Earth. Not to talk, not to warn, to end it. The Union sent one last message to Earth. You began this with silence. You end this with fire. But Earth didn't reply. They didn't send words. They didn't send warnings. They didn't send peace. They sent something else. It appeared in the middle of open space, right in the path of the Grand Flame. A dark shape. Huge. Towering. Covered in armor so black it looked like a hole in space. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. Not a ship, not a station. It looked like a mountain that could move. It moved slowly, calmly, and behind it followed storms. Electric clouds danced around it. Lightning in space. Solar winds changed direction. Smaller ships began to lose control, pulled by invisible waves. And then came the name. Broadcast into every ship, every helmet, every ear. We are Stormwalker. The Grand Flame hesitated. Then they opened fire. Thousands of missiles, beams, and energy shots flew through the void. But the Stormwalker didn't move. The weapons hit and vanished. Not a scratch. Not a sound. Not even heat. The Stormwalker was not shielded by machines. It was protected by something else. Something human. Then for the first time it answered. Not with thunder. Not with whisper. But with rage. A single pulse burst from its core. Silent. Invisible. And 10 ships, just like that, stopped. Their lights died. Engines off. Crews frozen. No alarms. No time to react. Then the voice returned. We asked for peace. You answered with fire. Now we answer with the storm. The Stormwalker moved. It didn't need speed. It didn't need surprise. Where it passed, ships failed. Weapons died. Commanders screamed. Some ships tried to run. They didn't make it far. On the planet Tyron 7, thousands watched the battle through live stream. Then the screens all blinked at once. One word appeared. Listen. A second later, the Stormwalker appeared above Tyron 7. Not physically. Its image. Projected into the sky. The people dropped their tools. Soldiers froze. Children pointed in fear. Then, soft voice spoke. We will not destroy your worlds. But if you come for Earth again, we will erase your skies. And the image vanished. Back on Earth, Captain Ilara Voss stood at the command tower deep inside the Stormwalker. Her eyes were calm. Her voice was clear. Prepare Phase 2, she said. Let them think this is our full power. Let them believe they survived. An officer turned to her. And Phase 3? She looked up at the stars. That's when they learn what thunder really means. The galaxy was burning. Not with fire, but with fear. The Stormwalker had passed through 5 sectors. It didn't leave craters or broken planets. It left silence. Ships floated cold. Stations stood still. Armies vanished without war. The message was clear. Earth was not asking. Earth was warning. But still, some leaders believed they could win. They began building one last weapon. Hidden on a moon called Zeros 4, the galaxy's best scientists created a machine that could shut down space itself. A weapon so large, it could stop the Stormwalker before it reached the core worlds. They called it the Starlock. And they were almost ready. Until a whisper came. Soft, unseen, undetectable. Just like the first time. On the final night, as the Starlock reached 95% power, every light on the moon dimmed. Engineers screamed. Generators died. Doors sealed shut. And across every screen the same words appeared. We asked you to listen. The Stormwalker didn't arrive. It didn't need to. Instead, above the moon, stars disappeared one by one. It wasn't darkness. It was something blocking the sky. A second ship, larger, older, even more silent. Its name was never spoken. It had no radio, no engine trail. But the Union named it anyway. The Ender. No weapons fired. No sound made. The moon shut down in 2 minutes. No escape. No message. Only silence. The Galactic Union finally broke. Half the empires dropped out. Others offered surrender. Some begged for mercy. And still, Earth didn't speak. So, the final meeting was held. One last chance to end it. The Union sent their last diplomat, a being named Veltor, famous for calming wars with only words. He was sent to Earth, not to threaten, not to demand, but to ask, why? Veltor landed on Earth alone. No army, no weapons, only a question. He was taken deep underground, past guards with eyes like steel, through silent halls where soldiers trained without speaking, past labs with machines beyond logic, until he stood before Captain Elara Voss. She didn't smile. She didn't rise. She simply looked and waited. Veltor bowed. Why this? Why now? You had power. You had peace. Why choose silence and thunder? Elara spoke quietly. You came to our planet centuries ago. You took our people. You mocked our culture. You said we were too emotional, too chaotic. You didn't give peace. You gave orders. Veltor said nothing. She stood, walked to a window that showed the stars. We warned you with kindness. We asked with science. We begged with treaties. You answered with fire. So we changed. We became what you respect. Veltor's voice shook. And what is that? She turned to them. Fear. Veltor dropped to one knee. What do you want now? The room went quiet. Then Elara whispered, we want to be left alone. Outside the base, above the skies, the Ender faded away. The Stormwalker powered down. Earth didn't need to speak anymore. The galaxy had finally listened. In the months that followed, the stars grew peaceful. No ships crossed near Earth again. Children on far planets were told bedtime stories. But they weren't about monsters or ghosts. They were about the humans, about thunder, about the whisper, and the day when Earth spoke last. And after that, the stars never laughed again.